Tell us about your career here in the UK.
I left school at 15 because it was like I needed to get out of this. It was not me. And so although I had ambition to be a nurse, but by the time I was that age, it was like, no, that was it. I'd had enough. I wanted to go. So I left school at 15. I left school on the Friday and started a job on the Monday, working in a packing factory, packing sweets and stuff. It was a good job. Yeah. And then again, I stayed there for a little while, moved on to being a wage clerk. At the time, we used to be able to put people's money in an envelope or work that put in an envelope. So coming from Jamaica, my education wasn't that bad. I was actually quite good to be able to pick up a job like that. I felt I was actually quite good. So I did that for a little while, then got married at 20. And then after that, I worked at the Manor Hospital here in Walsall as a theatre nurse. What would you call it now? I wasn't trained. It was an auxiliary nurse. That's what. So I worked for a while at the Manor Hospital here, and then after that had Richard, then had Nadine. Once I had Nadine, I left the hospital and I worked as a care assistant in a residential home. And then had Chantal. My marriage broke down after I had Shan. And then after that, once that broke down, it was like, okay, what next? But me being me, it was like, okay, there must be a reason for this. So I went back to night school, because I left school with no qualification, absolutely nothing at 15. No, I didn't know what an exam was. Went back to night school, had a lovely tutor. Her name was Jill, and went to, it was Dudley College I went to, and it was like after the first, oh, I can't do this. And she said, get yourself back here. And she was so, she was a black lady. She said, come on now, you can do this. And I went and I did. And I did my English, I did my sociology, past sociology, didn't even, how did I do this? But I did. And then I did an access to social work course, got into, it was Birmingham Polytechnic, it was at Perry Bar, got into there. It was like so amazing. Yeah, got in, did my social work degree, and went for a job when I finished. In the midst of that, my dad died. So that sort of breaking for a little bit. Daddy died in the midst of it, because by then mommy and dad had moved to Florida by then. So dad died in the midst of that. But I carried on and I went, sorted that out, buried that, came back, and then I finished my course, went to Birmingham City Council for a job as a social worker, missed out by a couple of points, got a job at Wolverhampton, working for Wolverhampton New Cross Hospital as a social worker, then moved into the community, me, you know, and that was just amazing. Stayed there for about, I think it was 16 years I stayed there, and then just felt that social work had changed. It was more so not going in for help. It was more so about working on the computer, doing paperwork and stuff like that. That was just not for me, and felt I had a calling on my life for something else, which I now see that social work had prepared me for, and that was to go into the ministry. So I reduced my hours, went for training as a minister, qualified, and then the rest is history. And I said to my family, I says, hey, look at me. I'm the only one who's been to university twice and graduated twice. Yeah. But it was like my dad, and I keep going back to my dad. I remember Dad saying to me, "We are so sorry that you left school with no." I said, "No, Dad, no, that was fine. That's how it was. That's how it was back then." And so here I am today. And so, I was proud to make my dad proud. Yeah.
What would you like to say about their legacy for future generations?
What my parents went through to build a foundation for their children, because they didn't do it for themselves. It was never for themselves. And if you were to if I was to talk to my dad now, he would say, "I suffered what I suffered because I wanted better for you. I wanted better for my children." And I think the majority of people then would say that they suffered, they coped with all of that abuse and everything else that they went through, the going without. They would say, "We did not do that for ourselves, but we wanted a better future for our children, our grandchildren, and our great-grandchildren." And even for myself, it was always looking forward. It was always looking towards my children and my grandchildren. And whatever I do now, it's always for the next generation. And it's about saying to the next generation, it's about sharing that with them. Because if they don't know, then they won't appreciate. Yeah? So we need to share that with them. They need to know the history of their grandparents, their great-grandparents. They need to know that. And my grandchildren, I've got a WhatsApp group with them. And every now and then, I will just drop something in there. I will just drop something in there just to remind them. Kai, my oldest, Kai is, how old is Kai? 22. Yeah. So I would just remind Kai. I would just say, "Kai, just remember that you have a job now. You have a role now for your younger siblings, for your younger cousins. You now have that responsibility to set that example for them and to work hard and to keep out of trouble." So I sort of drop that in every now and then so that they know. So even the youngest one now, Sunny, who is 19, I can't believe she's 19. But even Sunny, and then she'll go, "It's okay, Mama," she calls me. I appreciate that, yeah. And so we have to keep going. We can't be silent about the Windrush generation, the generation that we can't be silent, because otherwise we're going to lose all of that. And then it's just going to be wiped out. Would have been in vain, all that they went through. And we really don't want that to happen. Really, we can't allow it to happen. We can't allow it. Yeah. So I've been speaking to my siblings. I'm the oldest. I don't know if I remember saying that. I'm the oldest of the 9 siblings. And so from time to time, we get on a WhatsApp chat, and we just talk about all of these things. We just share all of these things. And I say from time to time, we do it most Sundays. Most Sunday after church, and we go home and we eat and we sit down, and we will go on this WhatsApp chat. And it's one of the good things that the pandemic brought us. We were able to link up like that. So we have not stopped doing that, but we share about those days.